Good morning, good morning, good morning. Boy, have we got a show today. Today is March the 3rd, 2026. And yes, we've got one hell of a show. And I got to tell you that, let me turn this down. It may be coming in a little too hot on the mic. So let me tell you that the Brett Johnson show, and I'm going to have a lot of new viewers because of today's topic and because this topic is going to be continuing for a while. So because of that, I want to make sure that everyone knows who I am. All right, my name is Brett Johnson, the United States Secret Service, and this is the spiel that I give at the beginning of a lot of my presentations. My name is Brett Johnson. The United States Secret Service called me the original internet godfather. The way I got the title was 39 felonies. I was originally charged with over 70. I pled guilty to 39 because, hey, 38 just isn't enough. I was placed on the United States Most Wanted list. I had an escape from prison. And if that weren't enough, I also built and ran the first organized cybercrime community. It's called Shadow Crew. It's a precursor of today's darknet and darknet markets. It lays the foundation for the way modern cybercrime channels operate today. Those 39 felonies had to do with refining modern financial cybercrime as we now know it today. If you've ever been ripped off online, had your identity stolen, anything else like that, I am the son of a bitch that is largely responsible for that happening. Yeah. The interesting thing is, I served 7.5 years in prison. We'll talk about that in a second. I served 7.5 years in prison. I got out, and I had an opportunity ultimately to turn my life around. I took it. Today, I work in the cybersecurity industry. I work with law enforcement like the FBI. I work with fraud prevention professionals. I'm widely and wildly respected across the board. I have a mantra. That mantra is just do the right damn thing, regardless of the consequence. I live by that daily. I practice it daily. And there have been consequences. I have lost friends. For example, a few years ago, I was on a stage at a fraud prevention conference. Synchrony Bank at that point in time, they were, and I'm sure they may still be doing that. I don't know. But at that point in time, they were being very predatory against their clients, and their clients were retail merchants, people who were not making a lot of profit. And Synchrony Bank was aware of some synthetic fraud being done, but they were telling the merchants it was regular identity theft. The difference is that the merchants would have to pay for the losses instead of Synchrony Bank. So I'm on stage and I just say it out loud. Synchrony Bank, you guys are a bunch of assholes. Well, that came with a consequence because Synchrony Bank sponsors a lot of fraud prevention conferences. So I lost some money. I've lost some friends. I've lost some contracts. I worked with Arcos Labs at one point. They work with Twitter. Musk comes in, buys Twitter. Why he buys it for however many $1 billion he bought it for and then changes its name to X, I'm sure I don't know. But I do know that as Musk was coming in, I guess they were somewhat worried that I might say something, and I might. So I was let go, laid off. Hey, budgetary concerns, consequences. I don't give a damn about consequences. My primary or my priority is just doing the right damn thing. And today we're going to talk about Hazard, Kentucky. Let me get a drink of this. So this is, I do it every morning. For those who don't know, I do an unpaid promo, usually of Monster Rehab energy drinks. It's a love-hate relationship. I love to hate this drink. This is the peach. I've already cracked it open. I've already tried it. I tried a can last week. And the taste has not gotten any better. It really does taste like a peach has walked by, like a 3-year-old barrel of warm Lipton iced tea that's got the mold growing on top, and that peach has farted as it walked by. That's what it tastes like. But it wakes you up. It wakes you up. And we need that today. Also, full disclosure, I am extremely thin right now. I've lost a lot of weight. Guys, I'm going through a divorce. And not only that, but I was on an HGH cycle, lovely cycle. And then I take testosterone shots, but I also took my supplier sent me in some Trenbolone. I tried that. Well, let me tell you, that is the bomb diggity. The problem with that is that it hit a bit too hard, and everything turned to muscle. I dropped almost all my body fat, which, hey, most people want to drop fat. I dropped too much, so now I'm eating donuts. I went and bought these Boost high calorie. They're like 8 ounces, 530 calories. I'm trying to add on like 20 pounds as fast as I can because I'm looking gaunt. I'm looking unhealthy. I'm looking like just a former shadow of myself. I got some people coming in, commenting already. Michael Semister, good morning, my friend. I'm going to try to get your comment today. Some stuff popped up last night after I talked to you that I really need to discuss today about Hazard. For those who do not know, I am from Hazard, Kentucky. When I lived in Hazard, Kentucky, I was a true piece of shit. I was very bright. I was very promising, but all those promises and that intelligence and everything went towards squat. I come from my mom was a fraudster and just not a very good person. She's still alive. My grandfather, his name was, on my mom's side, his name was Paul Campbell, lived in Airport Gardens. For those people who are in the Hazard area, lived in Airport Gardens. Paul Campbell was my granddad. That man was crazy. Anybody that lives near that remembers him, they can tell you that man was crazy. He used to chase us around the house with a butcher knife. He'd chase us. That was inside the house. Outside the house, it would be like, rubber hose, a pipe, whatever he can get his hands on. And what you'd do is you'd run away from him until he tired out. And then he'd sit down out of breath, panting, and you'd walk up, kind of cautionary. You'd kind of walk up, like, okay, dude, we all right now? And he'd say, don't let me catch you. I'll kill you if I catch you. And that would end the chase for that day. I'm from Hazard, Kentucky, and I was not a good person when I was in Hazard, Kentucky. And I guess today is the day that I need to let go of a lot of the self-guilt that I've had, because this conversation that we're going to have today is important. And I don't want anyone to think that I'm questionable about me being a good guy. I am a good guy these days. I do the right damn thing. I have a moral compass that points north more than any northern pointing moral compass that I know anywhere, anytime, any place, except for maybe JC and the boys. No, I'm not that good. But look, I'm a good guy these days. I work with law enforcement. I'm widely respected. I had an individual last night reach out to me, and I'll tell you this too. When I was in Kentucky, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that are growing up in Eastern Kentucky that feel the same way. They are ashamed that they are from Eastern Kentucky, and I was no different. I was ashamed that I was a product of Eastern Kentucky. I can tell you right now, I'm 56 years old. I can tell you right now that I am damn proud to be a Kentuckian. I am damn proud to have that mindset. I am damn proud to have grown up in an area like that, because it gives me a view, and I've traveled the world too, but it helps give a view of life that is not entitled. And that means something. It gives you a view that hard work is a necessity. Now, I've done manual labor. I logged at one point. I mined at one point. I've done manual labor, hard labor in my life. These days, I don't really do a lot of manual labor. I mean, my fingers are pretty soft. They're pretty soft. The only way I get calluses on my fingers is if I'm lifting weights for fun and excitement and to grow muscles. That's the only reason I get calluses on these hands anymore. But it did give me that view and that insight and that understanding and that appreciation. And I am damn proud to be a Kentuckian. Last night I had someone reach out to me, And this person was telling me about an ATV accident in Vico, Kentucky. For those who do not know, Hazard, Kentucky is in the heart of coal country. It is not a very big place. My great uncle, I think it's my great uncle, Roy Campbell, was responsible for basically building that county. It's Perry County, Kentucky. He was responsible for building a lot of that, for advancing that county. Roy was murdered, and they have still not found who killed him. And a lot of the reason they have not found who killed him is because Perry County, Kentucky is extremely corrupt. When I was a kid, like the sheriff at that point in time, Pearl Couch, his deputies, and I knew the guy they did this to, his deputies, this guy was driving drunk, got in a car chase. The deputies, of course, chased him, ran him off the road. He wrecked. The deputies drug him out of the car, and they beat him to the point that he was paralyzed for life from his neck down. Couldn't talk, couldn't do anything, had to be fed like a baby. That type of corruption, that type of abuse, Carol Fugate, when I was a child, was Perry County judge executive. The Dukes of Hazzard was very popular as a TV show, too. Carol Fugate had a white Cadillac. He used to dress like Boss Hogg, and the Black Gold Festival is the festival of choice in Eastern Kentucky every September. He would hire the actors of the Dukes of Hazzard, Daisy and Boss and Roscoe and Bo and Luke. He would hire them to come in to Hazard, Kentucky, so that he could, rub shoulders with them, and he could show them that, hey, I'm the Boss Hogg of Hazard. And he made the National Enquirer because he ended up getting his ass in a lot of trouble because he was corrupt, and they found out about that. It tends to be the way it's been with a lot of the county judge executives in Hazard. My great-grandfather on my mom's side, he was county judge executive, Harlan Banks, and he loses his job. Why? Because he decides he's going to steal some concrete culverts, big ones. Did he ever use them? No. I remember when I was growing up, 30 years after the man was county judge executive, and those damn concrete culverts were still on his property, laying there, grass growing all around him. Hazard, Kentucky is a very corrupt city. Perry County is a very corrupt county. Eastern Kentucky tends to operate a lot on corruption. And the thing is that Eastern Kentucky is populated by decent, good people. Those decent, good people, because it's Eastern Kentucky, we have a mindset, hey, mind your own business. We don't discuss anything outside of the family. And I do that. Like, I do not talk to people about how much money I make. I do not try to share what's going on inside of the family. That's not your business. But in Eastern Kentucky, they take that to extremes. They take it to extremes. Mind your own business. This is none of your concern. Let them handle it. And because of that, a lot of people know what's going on. A lot of people know who the guilty parties are, but a lot of people remain silent, not just because of that Eastern Kentucky mentality, but also because we people in Eastern Kentucky, we ain't got a lot. We ain't got a lot. It's a very poor area, and people are scared to death of the consequences they might face if they were to speak out. They might lose that job, the only job they've got. They might lose that damn job because they've spoken out. And then how are they going to put food on the table? How are they going to provide for their kids? They're not, because you're in Eastern Kentucky. There's not a whole lot of promise. There's not a whole lot of opportunities. And that helps to keep people quiet. And the problem is that evil succeeds when good people remain silent. That's the problem. I'm not one that can be bought anymore. That's a shame because sometimes I wonder, hey, how much you guys got? But I'm not the one that can be bought anymore. And I damn sure cannot be intimidated. I will tell you this, being placed on the United States Most Wanted list, there's not a whole hell of a lot that's going to intimidate you after making that list and serving prison time with that tag. It's not going to happen, especially some Eastern Kentucky narcissist who's got some money and a little bit of power. It ain't going to happen. If I can do that against if I can call out $1 billion company and I do it on the regular, if I can do that, you can damn well bet I don't mind a bit mentioning Noah Buck, Scott Alexander, and some other people in Eastern Kentucky. I'll do it all day, every day. I'll smile as I do it, and I'll go through and get me some more Krispy Kreme donuts because I need to add some weight. All right. So last night, Michael Semister, a friend of mine, he sent me some text messages. I was busy watching videos on flock camera systems. I'm going to comment on that today. I'm going to continue to comment on that because today's show was going to be all about mass surveillance and how flock cameras are pieces of shit, but they're a $7.5 billion company. That's what today's show is going to be about. I spent like 3 hours last night watching these Ben Jordan videos, educating myself on this, and I was like, holy hell. The problem is last night, 10:30, 11 o'clock, someone reached out to me and they said, hey, you might want to know about this. And the reason they reached out to me is because while I was that piece of shit when I lived in Hazard, Kentucky, I have turned my life around. I am a good guy now. I am widely respected, and people know that I will do the right damn thing regardless of the consequence. And when you've got someone like that, I'm going to tell you guys something. If someone is too scared to speak up, someone needs to be able to say the things that no one else will say. By God, that is me. So this person reaches out to me because this person knew this. And they tell me, hey, you might want to know about this. And I was like, know about what? She's like, well, it's going to make national news. It's already trending toward that. And Hazard only makes the news when bad things happen. And I'm like, yeah, Hazard only makes the news when bad things happen. To give you an idea, a few years ago, a woman was stabbed to death, broad daylight, downtown Hazard. Well, in one of the neighborhoods right off of downtown Hazard. That made national news, and I guess either she or the person who stabbed this lady to death, there's a lot of drug use in Hazard, Kentucky, because especially among the youth, but older people too, because there's not really anything to do other than drink, find some sort of dope to use, and try to forget that there's no opportunities in Hazard, Kentucky. So this lady was stabbed to death. That made national news. A few years prior to that, Hazard High School made national news, and I forgot why. It was something to do, I think, with predators or the some of the cheerleaders, some crap like that. I forgot what it was. A few years prior to that, Hazard made the news because this revenuer was in town and they found him hanged from a tree in one of the more well-to-do neighborhoods in Hazard, Kentucky. Years prior to that, Hazard, Kentucky was known as the capital in the United States for OxyContin use. Matter of fact, I can't think of many positive things that Hazard has ever made the national news for. I know Hazard High School had an outstanding high school band. And they often played at the inauguration of the U.S. president, something to be very proud of. So it's very seldom that Eastern Kentucky makes positive news, and today it's not positive news either. I'm reached out to, this person says that, hey, you need to know about this. There was an accident, an ATV accident. So I'm thinking four-wheelers. There's an ATV accident. This girl dies. And I was like, okay, and? Because sometimes I lack empathy. this girl dies. And then it's explained to me, well, there were 4 people. It's a side-by-side ATV. There were 4 people in the vehicle. They were drinking. 2 of the people were girls, age 16. At this point, my ears are starting to perk up because I know where this is going. The other 2 people, one was a gay gentleman from Vico, Kentucky, and I don't really care if the dude is gay or not. I don't. That has nothing to do with it. But let's be honest, it's going to absolutely butter people up to tune in to this story. One was a gay dude from Vico, Kentucky. The other, his name is Noah Back. And I'm like, and? Well, they're 26, 28 years old. And I pause. You see, I even paused with my Monster Energy drink in my hand. I paused. And I said, well, that's interesting. Yeah, it is. And I said, so romantically involved, I'm sure. And I'm told yes. And I was like, well, let's be honest, it's not really romance, is it? It's grooming. And the answer is yes. And I'm like, the girl who died, was she a victim? And then the story starts to come out. So, this person, they were like, figure you might want to know. They tell me the story. I'm going to tell you the rest of the story in a second. They tell me the story and they're like, figure you might want to know. And I was like, well, you know that within 15 minutes, I'm going to be talking about this on Facebook and I'm not going to hold back. And they were like, well, that's why I reached out to you. And I'm like, I know. The thing is when someone is brave enough to stand up and speak up and speak out, if that person is trusted, and by God, I am, if that person is trusted, turns out that they get a lot more people reaching out to them with a lot more information. So the Brett Johnson Show is going to be talking about this 4 days. At the same time, I'm going to be reaching out to national media to try to make sure that this thing goes national. And at the same time, I think I've got this. I think I've got this bug in me right now to try to level the playing ground in Eastern Kentucky and talk about the corruption there and call out the people who have been doing this kind of stuff and just let it all go. Yeah, pedophiles. The Jeffrey Epstein of Eastern Kentucky. I'm sure that tagline, I'm sure that tagline will stick. That's what I'm sure of. And I'm Noah Buck is who we're talking about. Basketball coach. His mom, principal at a school. His dad, physician's assistant. Now, in Eastern Kentucky, what that equates to is that you are shitting in high cotton. You are a well-respected family. You are liked. You are powerful. You got money. When most people don't. So yeah, this they were driving. Noah Buck had been grooming this girl since she was 14 years old. Not only that, but her parents knew about it. His parents knew about it. Let me tell you something. I want to be honest. It's time that this needs to be said. And I posted this last night. A grown man who is having sexual relations with a child, that is not called dating. That is called rape. Just because that child is starting to develop and look more like a woman does not mean that that child is a woman. It means that that child is a child. Just because she may have thought she was in love doesn't mean that. It means she was being groomed. Just because he's well-liked or was well-liked in the community, and his family was respected in the community, does not mean that he was a good guy. It means he was a pedophile. pedophiles you can't fix. I served time in Big Spring, Texas. The pedophile population there was 22%. 22%. My job as a white guy, and here's the thing for those who don't know, and I've said this before, two people you know as soon as they step off the prison bus. You know exactly who the bank robbers are, and you know exactly who the pedophiles are. You're met by a member of your race. That's the way prison works. My job was to go up to those questionable people and have a conversation with them. I was not a member of a gang, but they had employed me because they knew I had worked for the Secret Service. And in order for me not to get my ass beaten, I was that guy because I'm a very good social engineer. I can talk to people. I can manipulate people. I do that kind of stuff. So my job was to walk up to the questionable white guys and I'd have a conversation. Hey, I don't know what you're in here for, but if you're in here for something that's screwed up, you better tell me, because if you tell me that you're not, and then you mess with those guys and they find out about it, they are going to kill you. Now, what do you want to do? And they would typically look at me and say, hey, man, I just want to serve my time. That was a nice way of saying, I like them young. At which point, another conversation would ensue. And that conversation would be, hey, here's the way life works for you. You're not allowed to watch television. If someone wants to extort you, that's what's going to happen, because that's the penalty that you pay behind the fence. And that's the way life was. Because of that, I got to associate with about 22% of the inmate population of Big Spring, Texas, those pedophiles. I got to know them. And I can tell you, you can't fix that. You can't fix that. They are as excited by children as a normal person is excited by, the same gender that they are, or the opposite gender. So I don't hold anything. I don't care if you're gay. I don't give a shit. All right. I don't care. I do care if you're a child predator. You're damn right I care about that. You can't fix that kind of stuff. You can't fix it. Get that through your head right now. And if you're protecting these people, I had a woman last night on Facebook. Do you have evidence that Noah Buck was the driver of the vehicle? And I was like, what? I was like, yeah, I've got eyewitnesses that are coming out to me right now. As a matter of fact, I'm the guy that posted the first picture of the accident. Yeah. What does she say? That's hearsay. My response was, hearsay my ass. To which she responded, well, that's not very journalistic saying my ass. And I was like, obviously, lady, you don't know me. That's the friendliest I get sometimes. So the pedophile, the other guy from Bico, two 16-year-olds are in this ATV driving. The ATV crashes one of the girls, not the girlfriend of Noah Buck, but one of the girls, 16 years old. She gets pinned under the ATV and she dies. Noah Buck uninjured, maybe some bruises. The other girl, maybe some bruises. The other gentleman in the vehicle, the friend of the pedophile, and maybe a pedophile himself, I don't know. The friend, she was not driving, but both Noah and this other individual, this other gentleman, talked this girl into taking the fall to say she was driving. Why would you do that? Well, the reason you do that, she's 16. She's been groomed since she was 14. A child lacks the mental capacity to make a rational decision. Add on top of that she has been groomed. She's been psychologically motivated to think that what she's feeling as a child is love, so that this predator, Noah Buck, can get his sexual groove on and victimize someone and abuse someone and rape someone, because that's what it's called when an adult sleeps with a child. You're a pedophile. That's what you are, and you don't fix that. And his parents knew it, and the child's parents knew it. For years they knew it, and they were okay with it. Why were they okay with it? Well, they were okay with it because the Buck family is highly respected. Not only they're highly respected, but they've got connections to that county judge executive, Scott Alexander. Well, hey, I went to Dills Combs. Noah Buck's dad went to Dills Combs, Bill back. Know that dude. The county judge executive there, a guy named Scott Alexander, I went to school with that dude. I can tell you this. When I was in high school with that dude, Scott, he was a friggin' idiot. He was. I mean, about as dumb as a bag of hammers. These days, he's county judge executive. He's still a friggin' idiot. He's still about as dumb as a bag of hammers. But he's corrupt enough that the people in power, the people with money, they're going to make sure he's elected so that he does what they want him to do. You know, all that FEMA money that came in from the floods, did that go to clean up the roads, up the hollers? No. Did that go to fix bridges and stuff like that? No. Where that went was in other people's pockets, you know, as the regular people on the street suffer, because that's what people like that do. Oh, we on a roll today. I know I position this show as a positive show, being a better human being. I am positive that if we start calling out more of these pedophiles and corruption in places like Eastern Kentucky, that we will be a better people. See, that's the positivity for today. When you get a lemon, make lemonade out of it. So, this ATV crashes. They talk the girl into taking the fall for it. Of course, she does. Now, what this young lady doesn't realize is that she's 16. This is going to make national news because it is just too juicy not to. It's going to make national news. The people already are crying out for a sacrificial lamb. They want justice because a 16-year-old child died. They want justice. So who's going to be the piggy that's taken to slaughter? That 16-year-old girl that took the fall for that. She is likely, probably very likely, to be charged as an adult. She doesn't realize that. She doesn't realize that because she's been groomed since she was age 14 by this pedophile. She's convinced that this pedophile loves her. She doesn't understand that this pedophile has been abusing her. A child lacks the capacity for rational thought. It's the job of the parents. I said this yesterday. It's the job of the parents to protect that child. The parents did not do that. The parents were okay with it. Why? Because, hey, the Buck family's got money. The Buck family's protected. You know, they're respected. She'll marry into that, and she'll be taken care of, and it'll raise our status in the society as well. And ain't nobody gonna say nothing because we're in Eastern Kentucky, and that's the way things go. Well, somebody's gonna say something, especially when somebody dies. So I've got the rest of the week. I've got people that are coming on the show, willing to come on the show, that's going to talk about the corruption in Eastern Kentucky. That's going to talk about this case. You know, when I was a child, my dad was in the military. My dad was Ray Johnson. That name doesn't mean anything anymore. It didn't mean a damn thing when he was an adult. Now, his dad, his name meant something. His name was Farmer Johnson. And Farmer Johnson was tax commissioner for Perry County, Kentucky. And he was well respected. And that meant my dad was real well respected until my dad shit that name away, which he did. Then the way he shit it away is he married my mom. My mom, her family was really well known too, because everyone knew that Paul Campbell and that family was crazy. It was so bad. And I have no doubt this was true. My dad tells a story of when he decided to marry my mom. He walks into the kitchen to tell his mom this. He tells his mom he's getting married. His mom asks, "Who are you marrying?" And he says, "Carol Campbell, Paul Campbell's daughter." And she literally passes out right there, falls face first into the floor. I have no doubt that was true. I also have no doubt that when he went to get married, he goes to Airport Gardens, Paul Campbell's outside. Paul Campbell sits him down. My dad, Ray, says, I'm going to get married. And Paul Campbell looks at him and says, hey, son, if you knew what I knew, you'd take off running right now and you wouldn't look back. But my dad didn't listen. So he shit that Johnson name away. I shit that name away too, but I like to think that I'm bringing some trustworthiness and some clout and some, hey, I'll do the right damn thing at the end of the day, back to that name. My dad did not do that. Farmer didn't really do that. Farmer was tax commissioner. He was arrested for making moonshine while he was tax commissioner. He goes up to Milan, Michigan, serves some federal time. While he's in federal prison, he's reelected as tax commissioner. Back then, the feds weren't nearly as strict. They let his ass out so he could come back to Hazard and do his job as tax commissioner. Come from a long line of asses and pieces of shit. I'll tell you that. I'm glad I was able to break that cycle. I absolutely am. I've got people coming on the show later this week about that. We got a little movie out now for the opioid epidemic. You'll have to let me know what the name of that is. If you don't mind, I'd like to watch that. Got a few comments. We're broadcasting today live on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Facebook. I usually broadcast on Twitter. Hey, I've got like 12,000 Twitter followers. I've been shadow banned on Twitter for a while. So I'm trying to get over that shadow ban. They tell me that one of the ways to get over it is you got to clean up those deletes, those tweets where you were, hammering everybody. Okay, there's 18,000 of them. And don't post anything for like 72 hours and it'll reset. So you'll be popular again. I'm like, I would like to be popular because I'd like to bitch about more stuff again. So I'm broadcasting to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube today. Facebook because, this information, a lot of it is coming through Facebook channels, people who are reaching out to me and letting me know exactly what's going on. Noah Buck and his family, his mom, principal, his dad, physician's assistant, the son, basketball coach. When I was a child, that's what I was getting at. The number of pedophiles across the country, I don't think that people really appreciate that. And I don't think that people really understand or appreciate how human trafficking actually operates. We see a lot, and I work with the FBI. It's not like I'm talking out of my ass and making this stuff up and don't know what I'm saying. I do. All right. Human trafficking, the vast majority of it takes place within the family or someone who knows the family. It's not, regardless of what you've read on Facebook, about some white van leaving $100 bills underneath a windshield wiper. That is fake. That's false news. You want to know what fake news is? That's fake news. That is not human trafficking. That shit don't happen. I'm not saying it's never happened, but it don't happen. All right. Human trafficking takes place at the family level or someone who knows the family member the vast majority of the time. That's the case with this Noah Buck story. The family, the girl's parents knew about the girl being victimized. They were okay with it. It's not okay. It's not okay. When I was a child, and that's what I'm saying about pedophiles overall, I don't think our society appreciates how many are out there. When I was a child, my dad he quits the military. We moved back to Hazard, Kentucky. He gets a job as a bulldozer operator. The grade school I'm in at that point is R.W. Combs. So I know there might be some people listening from R.W. Combs. I remember that school vividly because of the amount that I hated that school. And the reason I hated it, the janitor there, and I was, I don't know, 7, 8 years old. We were all scared. Us boys were all scared of going to the bathroom. And we all tended to go as a group. And the reason why we did not want to be alone in that bathroom because the janitor liked to watch little boys use the bathroom. And I remember vividly that I had to do a number 2. And the rest of the boys, they left. And the door opens and the janitor opens because they didn't have latches on the stalls for the doors. They just You just shut them like that. The janitor opens the door as I'm taking a poo, and he watches me. The number of pedophiles is well unappreciated in the United States. I never said anything about that because I didn't know what that was at 7, 8 years old. You don't know what that is. You have no idea what that is. You just know you don't feel right. If I would have said something, my mom, as screwed up as she would have been, she would have probably killed the guy, because you can't fix that, because you're victimizing a child, because you're traumatizing that child for life. I remember that to this day, vividly remember that. I can only imagine what this 16-year-old victim of Noah Buck, how her life will turn out, how screwed up she will be. Will she be okay? Will she get therapy? Because maybe not. All right. I know her parents were okay with her being victimized. I know his parents were okay with him being the predator and with her being victimized. I know that people in the community absolutely knew what was going on, and they remained silent as that child was being abused, raped. Everyone that knew is complicit in that crime. Everyone. I don't know who I hate most, the pedophile or those who protect the pedophiles. I really don't. But I know that we as a society, it is our duty to protect those who cannot protect themselves. That's our job. And if we don't do it, what the hell are you here for? Noah Buck, his family, evidently the police went down to the Buck residence, because Noah Buck, I guess he's 28 years old now, still living with mommy and daddy, even though he's got a job as a basketball coach. That should tell you right there his development and his maturity as an adult, as a human being. Still lives with mommy and daddy. His mom, dad, and Noah, they were not at the house because they expected the cops to come knocking. And everyone knows that cop knock. They expected that. So they've got some property and some relatives up in Chicago, Illinois. They run up there, and that's where they are right now, is up there. I don't think that's really going to help them, because as far as I understand, Illinois has extradition treaty with Hazard, Kentucky. I'm also hoping, and hey guys, if anybody's got any news about this at all, message me on Facebook. I'll talk about it. I don't give a damn. If you want to come on the show and people are already wanting to come on, we're going to get you on here. We're going to talk about this. We're going to get all this stuff out. I'm going to be reaching out to national media as well. This is just kind of I'm just laying the groundwork of what happened. The amount of corruption in Eastern Kentucky helps lend to people being victimized, crimes being committed, and people being scared to speak up and speak out. It takes one person to say no. It takes one person to speak up and signal to everyone else that, hey, speaking up matters. It makes a difference. When people realize that, when they understand that, I promise you, more people will do it. And the more people that will do it, those who are committing evil, those who are committing crime, those who are victimizing other people for their own benefit, those people will start to become fewer and fewer. Those people will be scared to do anything untoward other people in our society. And that's what we need. That's exactly what we need as a society, as a people. We need more people calling these damn things out. I'm going to look at the comments here for a second. It's called Hazard. Yeah, I know. Okay. I'll look at that. I'll try to find that and look it up. Baby Blue, is it on YouTube? Yes, it is on YouTube under the Brett Johnson Show. Michael Semester, that place is insane. We all need to be willing to cross the new line. You're damn straight. You're damn straight. It's not just Hazard. I mean, there are a lot of corrupt areas throughout the United States, and we have to get to the point where we're calling this bullshit out. It is also played at Hillside and Hazard. The last time I was at that, Hazard does have a movie theater. It's very akin to a double wide trailer with a very shitty sound system and maybe a 40-inch screen. So that's Hazard. All right. No one really goes there. Jordan Willem, 100%. My name is Brett Johnson. We're going to move on because I promised one of my viewers that I was going to talk about flock cameras, and I also wanted to talk about filter for a second. I read the lyrics yesterday of Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival, talking about our military war in Iran. I'm not political. I'm not. Personally, I think Iran needs to be taken out. Get rid of some of them hellraisers. I know a lot of people do not agree with my sentiment about that, but I personally think Iran needs to be taken out. A lot of MBS over in Saudi, he evidently thought that too. So I'm not alone in my opinions. But, it's let's see what this comment is that just popped up. Have you ever covered the Amber Spradlin murder cover-up that happened in Floyd County? And I'll tell you what, if you want to, Emily, that's Emily Johnson, if you want to message me some details of that via Facebook, or you can email me at Gollum@anglerfish, ANGLERP as in Paul, HISH.com. Gollum, like Lord of the Rings, at anglerfish.com. If you can email me some details on that, I'll also try to take the time to look some of that up. I will tell you that it's sometimes I don't have a whole lot of time. This guy who wanted me to talk about flock cameras today, he's been hounding me for a few days. He actually reached out to me on the show last week. And he's like, "Hey, have you seen the Ben Jordan video on flock cameras?" I was like, here I am. I grabbed my cell phone and I'm like, flock cameras. What is that? I looked it up. I'm a former bad guy. We use bad guy language. It's taken me a while to learn some of these terms and initials and crap like that. But I spent 3 hours last night prepping for today's show. It's going to be on flock. Then, Noah Buck, the Epstein of Eastern Kentucky, he pops up on my radar, and I'm like, I got to be honest with you, that's much more important than anything about flock cameras, as far as I'm concerned. Child predators are much more important to deal with and handle, and we're going to handle that. We are absolutely going to handle that. It's interesting to me. I mean, growing up, there were other coaches that had what they like to call affairs with their high school students. It's not an affair, it's rape. You're not in love, you're a pedophile. She's not in love with you, you've groomed her. That's a fact. I served time with these pedophiles, and a lot of them, "Oh yeah, I loved her." No, you didn't love her, dude. You're a predator. She loved me. No, she didn't love you. You groomed her. That's a fact. She doesn't have the capacity for rational thought. She doesn't get to choose. You've manipulated her. You've abused her. You've raped her. That's a fact. If you start to understand that, then you start to not protect these people. You start to not say, "Well, she was a young woman." No, she was a child. Use the correct terminology. Start doing that, and I promise you, you won't keep that mindset very long. That love and dating and she was okay because she was a teenager. No, she was a child. All right. I want to talk about flock cameras. We're going to move on from this. I promise you, this is probably going to come back tomorrow about the pedophiles of Eastern Kentucky. That may even be the headline of the show. The title: Pedophiles of Eastern Kentucky. Why not? We'll do that. Grooming in the juvenile justice system and through the court and Hazard is a real thing too. I could tell you all about it. Baby Blue, I want you to tell me all about it. You want to come on the show? Come on the show. Not send me an email, hook up with me and send me a message on Facebook Messenger. I would love to hear about it. And I promise you, I will talk about it. I ain't too proud, and I damn well ain't scared. So we're going to talk about flock cameras. And now that I have educated myself on these things. So flock cameras are those big ass camera systems that you see on the poles or you see outside of Walmart, flashing blue lights. It's all that. They read license plates. It's a private company, not private. It's not owned by the government or by law enforcement. All right. They sell the services to law enforcement agencies. That they scan license plates. All right, that's typically what they're used for. Is they take snapshots of license plates, they run through the system, all that. They are so ubiquitous. There's so many out in some of these cities that it's like they're able to track so well that it's like you've got a GPS put on your vehicle. There's so many of them, they can actually track every place that you go. They then sell that data to places like Walmart. Walmart puts all that shit together, not only your car, the type of car you're driving, where you're parking, but what you're doing inside of Walmart. Walmart records your audio, they record video, they scan your face, they do all of this stuff in order to try to sell you more crap. There's a reason that when you go into Sam's Club, that you may go in for one item, but before you know it, every Sam's Club visit is $200 because they want to sell you stuff. And it's not just because eggs run $5 a dozen. It's not just because no one can afford groceries anymore. It's because these companies, they understand, or they think of human beings as products. All right. Law enforcement uses flock systems to scan not driver's license, but license plates. They do that. Flock is a $7.5 billion company. The cameras are throughout the United States. It has absolutely become a surveillance type state of you being able to be tracked. The camera systems themselves, they are not secure whatsoever. You can actually go up to a camera, press a button on the back of it, you can get Wi-Fi access to it at that point. None of the data on the cameras, Flock positions itself saying all of the data that we capture is encrypted. None of the data is encrypted at all. The password, the hard-coded password. I bitch a lot about passwords. I say, hey, 80% of the population uses the same or similar login credentials across multiple websites. 41% of all routers on the planet have the default password. People never update the password. Flock's even worse than that. Flock has a hard-coded password. That is, anyone want to guess? Well, it's not password. It's not password 123. What would Flock's password possibly be? How about Flock? Yeah. How about the password for Flock cameras is Flock? Boy, that's bright. It's very easy to gain root access to those cameras. Now, why is that important? It's important because Flock also says, they've got this thing called Flock Nova, the Flock AI system, so that you don't have to build a case. It's done immediately for you. The problem is that attackers, it's very easy to gain root access of the Flock system. And because of that, it's very easy. So if I wanted to do a bank robbery, and that is, I got to be honest with you, that is on my criminal bucket list. If I wanted to do a bank robbery, I could gain root access to a Flock camera 200-300 miles away. And I could upload video to that camera of me driving around 200 miles away to that camera while I'm actually, and it would show me I was in that area while I was actually robbing a bank. That's not bad. And the thing about it is, no one would be able to know the difference because I have that access. So they're not very secure. They don't really help build cases at all because they're not very secure. Now, the thing is that when you're talking to a jury or to a suspect or stuff like that, or to your lawyer, if you're being charged for that bank robbery, the thing is that those people are not very technically savvy. Those people do not know, hey, if you knew this, you'd understand that Flock, you could argue that case, you could plant doubt in the jury's mind, and you could walk away, my friend. I like that even better. Flock's very unsecure. Meanwhile, more and more law enforcement agencies are using flock systems, and that data is being shared or sold to other companies and organizations across the board. That's being done. Home Depot's doing that, for example. I am beyond appalled that we would have a $7.5 billion company that has such shitty security. But then I look at a lot of these other companies, and if Michael's still watching, he's probably going, yeah, a lot of these other companies, these billion-dollar companies, they got crap security as well. Now, why is that? Well, that's because, the perception of truth is more important than the truth itself. It doesn't matter what the facts are. It matters what I can convince you of. So, people look at Flock. Well, it looks secure. That looks to me like that's a well-protected camera. That's a professional thing. Law enforcement's using it. And they never question. How valid it is, how secure it is, how well it works. They never question that. They just assume that. And that is what a lot of these companies do. They rely on the brand and the public's perception of things as a security tool. That don't work like that. That don't work like that at all. Let's check my messages here. Got Baby Blue, absolutely. Thank you, Baby Blue. I wanted, those who haven't watched Ben Jordan on YouTube, please go over and watch the man. He walks through all this. I don't want to repeat everything he says because he says it. I don't want to just parrot the guy. I think he did an outstanding job of doing that. I am absolutely against it. And those who wonder or question, well, those cameras, the Ring cameras and the Flock cameras, and Flock says this on their site. They've got tons upon tons of blog posts that they've written or they've had ChatGPT write that claim, oh, Flock has absolutely resulted in crime dropping. No, it hasn't. A camera does not stop crime. If you have a doubt about that, just ask the body of Nancy Guthrie. Because those Ring cameras didn't stop crap. All those Flock cameras in the area that captured all those vehicles, they've not been able to identify who the attacker was, who the kidnapper was. Meanwhile, I'll promise you that poor lady is dead. It didn't protect her at all. Those cameras don't stop crime. They don't. They're a tool. And in this case, the Flock camera systems are a shitty tool. All right. We're on a roll today. I want to read. I did that lyrics yesterday of Fortunate Son. And as I was reading it, man, it was hitting me. It really was. I'm a big fan. Michael Semister points out, and he's absolutely right. Before I get to this, I wanted to say something. Those Amazon reviews that are out there, those Google reviews that are out there, those Trustpilot reviews that are out there. When you read a review, you need to understand that 80% plus of every single review, regardless of where it's posted on Amazon, Google, wherever, 80% of every review is fake. It's fake. All right? Reviews don't matter. It's just a way to manipulate you into choosing them. All right. They pay for those reviews. They write those reviews themselves. Anybody that speaks out, they complain, they get the negative reviews removed, stuff like that. Reviews, I'm sorry to say, and here's the thing, I know that. I know it, yet I still read the Amazon reviews knowing that they're fake. And believe it or not, even though I know those reviews are fake, those reviews still influence me on who I purchase a product from, which is insane. But that's the way the human mind works. Not saying I've got a normal human mind, but I'm saying that's the way it works. Emily, I sent you a Facebook message about everything I know about the Amber Spradlin case. However, I don't have much details as I moved from Floyd before this happened. Emily, I'll read that. I appreciate it, and I'll absolutely look into that. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. So, moving right along, and I'm going to read this. I'm going to read these lyrics from Filter's song, Hey Man, Nice Shot. Now, The notes here say that this song is about R. Bud Dwyer, a Pennsylvania state treasurer who was tried and convicted of racketeering, bribery, fraud, and conspiracy. Now, I know those who have never heard this song, I advise you to go and listen to this damn thing because it's an outstanding song, especially if you're more into the hard rock and metal like I am. It's a good song. Now, I know it says it's about Mr. Dwyer. I got to tell you, I'm not quite sure I believe that. I'm not. I think if you hear these lyrics and hear the song and you think of the murder of Martin Luther King Jr., that this song applies better to him than it does Bill Dwyer. That's just my thought. And every time I hear this song, and I listen to it frequently, every time I hear this song, I tend to think of the Reverend Martin Luther King. All right, here we go. I wish I would have met you. Now it's a little late. What you could have taught me, I could have saved some face. They think that your early ending was all wrong. For the most part, they're right. But look how they all got strong. That's why I say, hey, man, nice shot. Good shot, man. That's why I say, hey, man, nice shot. Good shot, man. A man has a gun. Hey, man, have fun and nice shot. Now that the smoke's gone and the air is all clear, those who were right there got a new kind of fear. You'd fight and you were right, but they were just too strong. They'd stick it in your face and let you smell what they consider wrong. That's why I say, hey, man, nice shot. Good shot, man. That's why I say, hey, man, nice shot. What a good shot, man. A man has a gun. Hey, man, have fun. Nice shot. A man has a gun. Hey, man, have fun. Nice shot, man. Nice shot. I wish I would have met you. 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 I'd say, nice shot. That's Filter. And I fully believe if you think of the Reverend Martin Luther King while you listen to that song, by God, it hits at a brand new level. Because let's be honest, who the hell knows who Bill Dwyer is? I don't. I didn't even care enough to look up who he is. I just read that in the notes. All right. Other thing I wanted to read is I've got time to do this, and I'm going to close out the show right after that. Michael Semister. I told you, man, I was going to read it on the show. I meant what I said. Let's see what we say here. Excuse me. Anybody's got any comments, questions, concerns, complaints, by all means, go ahead and leave them in the comments section. I do read the comments. I will address the comments the next day or while the show's going on if I see the comment pop up. Michael Smister, he says, somebody needs to do something out loud on the fucking purpose to shake shit up in a way that the corrupt machine has to actually stop and take notice. I'm reading the Wikipedia page for Brett Johnson and Shadow Crew being that first cybercrime community that I ran. You guys taught the fucking feds how to do their good damn jobs because all the government does is sit in the corner of life with each other's thumbs up each other's asses while they jerk each other off to the auto-tune of a stock market so rigged it's boring, but connected to every aspect of humanity in a way that gives them the hard-on they need to keep going. Is it any wonder that I love Michael? I mean, he's great. He truly is. It sounds like we need better criminals. Good enough to make a difference because this whole system is going to kill us if we don't stop it. And I don't care how much of a criminal a person is. We all have the capacity to fight against a power in common. You are damn straight we do. It sounds like the only way that the thing is supposed to keep getting us safe and eternal, the only way to get it to actually work is to commit a crime so big that they are forced to let us run it. Because the good guys, effers put in power by our election system as rigged as the stock market because they don't know what the F they are doing. They can't protect, prevent, or prove shit. They have lost all control and we still let them have it. So I like Michael. I like Michael a lot. Truth of the matter is when I was committing crime, Secret Service, these law enforcement agencies, they had no idea. They had not a clue of the crimes that were being committed online, how they were being done, how to track those individuals that were committing those crimes or these attacks. They had not a clue. And it was open season, what quote unquote people call the Wild West of the internet. Because we committed so much crime, it forced law enforcement agencies to learn what the devil was going on. It forced them to educate themselves. Nowadays, they're pretty good. They are. There's just not enough manpower to handle all the crime that's being committed online. There's not. We've got 37,000 FBI employees spread across 56 field offices in the United States. Of those 37,000 employees, only about 300 agents are concentrated on cybercrime. 300 agents. Meanwhile, I can point you a Telegram channel that's got 10,000 people on it, all committing crime. You can't arrest them all. We don't have the infrastructure to do that and to take them to trial and convict them and send to prison. We can't do it. We can't do it. All right. So what I'm getting at is Michael's right. I mean, people do not change. Criminals do not change what they're doing unless something forces them to change it. Law enforcement, the good guys, they're the exact same way. The good guys do not change what they're doing unless something forces them to change. Michael's right in what he's saying. He's 100% right in that. We have the choice every day, to wake up and do the right damn thing. We have a choice every day, an opportunity to wake up and be better people than we were the day before. We have the choice and opportunity that anything that we have done wrong in our past, the day before, the week before, the year before, 10 years before, we have the choice and the opportunity every day to wake up and choose to try to balance that scale and become better human beings. We have the choice and opportunity to love our neighbor every day, to treat others as we would like to be treated ourselves. All it takes is an understanding that you have that opportunity, that choice, and then the willpower to do it. That's all it takes. All it takes is understanding that your value as a human being doesn't come from the way that other people view you. Your value as a human being should come from inside. To understand yourself, to appreciate yourself, to forgive yourself, to love yourself. And from that, you can appreciate, understand, and love other people. My name is Brett Johnson. This is the Brett Johnson Show. Bit of a different episode today. I end every episode saying the same damn thing. At the end of the day, just do the right damn thing. Until tomorrow, 8 a.m. Central Time. Take care, stay safe, goodbye, and do the right damn thing.